Thank you so much. I need to describe two major things. One is selection of proposed Arogya centers, and the second thing is designing the clusters. Let me first go into the selection of Arogya centers. Already, I have shared this link with the province through the primary health care directorate, so which includes the proposed Arogya centers. Now, within the link, there are several folders. Out of them, we have to identify the central province. Once you select the central province, so the three districts of the central province are in three different tabs. Let's as example, let's go to the Kandy district. So in the Kandy district, there are several uh, maternal health child health centers we have identified as proposed Arogya centers. First, let me go to the map, then you will understand what I'm trying to say. Now, now here the Kandy district. The Kandy districts, which having the MCH centers and the health institutes are already mapped here. Now we can see in between health institutes, there are maternal and child health centers as well. So out of them, we are selecting certain maternal and child health clinics as proposed Arogya centers. When we are selecting, we looked into the map and identify the places having a high population density as well as close to the main road. But at the ground level, this may be impractical due to different reasons. Now, one example is the although clinic center looks like in a good place, sometimes that center will not have adequate space for public health nursing officer, public health midwife, and also conducting the screening programs. So in such place, it may be not suitable. Also, there may be constraints in upgrading the place further because that the land maybe belongs to local authority or even for a local welfare organization. In such case, though the maternal and child clinic is conducting, the upgrade of the clinic center will not be allowed. So again, another problem is now we have identified the clinics based on the population. So the population we get from the for the Gram Seva Niladhari division, but population may be scattered in one particular area and dense in another area within the Gram Seva Niladhari division. So the area where the MCH clinic is maybe not a suitable place for having the clinic center and maybe not a place where adequate population density is persisting. In such case, that the clinic is not suitable. But at the same time, there will be certain other clinics which is useful. So what we need to do is now based on these uh, thinking, we have identified potential MCH clinics as proposed Arogya centers. But this is a draft list where we have to start because there should be a list that we may be able to start. If you have the list, then it is easier for us. Then what we can do, we have to carefully go through each and every clinic. These clinics may be much at the very first, it may be unfamiliar at the regional level because in my understanding for a clinic center we need to get the local knowledge as well. As example, MOH feedback, maybe the PMCU staff feedback, and also the relevant community leaders in that area. We need to get some thoughts for this. So once we get the idea from local context, so whether we can identify whether these particular clinics are suitable or not. If you take one clinic as example, Kundasale Balagolla clinic. So if this clinic is okay to develop as a Arogya center, we can select here as selected, or else that may be not suitable for us as well. As mean the RDHS team. So in that case, we can say not selected. If it is as good as selected, then we need to mention here whether it needs the upgrade or not. Because certain centers, there may be plenty of logistics. The Arogya centers will able to start at once. But at the same time, there are centers which needs to upgrade before starting Arogya center. So in that case, we have to identify what kind of a logistics that we need to allocate to upgrade that particular clinic. So here we can say whether we need to upgrade or not. And we have to comment what kind of upgrade that is necessary to in that case. In case, assume that particular MCH clinic is not suitable, then in that case, we can say not selected here. Once we say not selected, please comment why it is not selected. Then it will be easiest to work out. At the same time, when you are not selecting clinics, and if you are proposing certain other place as a proposed Arogya center, then you can write it down here. What's the clinic name? GN Gramsa Nildar Division, Divisional Secretariat Division. So then in that case, we will able to add that particular clinic instead of the previously selected one. But when we are having a clinic center, always we looking to the clinic in scientific manner, whether this clinic is quite closer to a health institute or not. Is there a representative population which covers by the clinic? Is there a population that the clinic will able to impanel? So we are looking into those things because we are going to have a lifetime investment for starting a center. Then we have to see how cost benefit is starting a clinic in that particular place. So that's the idea of proposed Arogya centers. Then we need to upgrade this format in the earliest possible. I suggest that the upgrading is over the develop filling this form needs a lot of input from the grassroots level as well, rather than filling at the provincial level, because in the national level it is definitely difficult to fill it up because it needs a lot of input from the grassroots level. So this link has already given under the proposed Arogya location. Please go to the necessary link. So next component I have to explain is clustering of the clustering of the health institutes. Now, as example, in the again in the Kandy district, let's go to a base hospital, then it will be much easier to explain. Okay, let's go to the Kampala hospital. Then Kampala hospital is here. Then we have several hospitals around that. Let's remove this. Several hospitals around. So then we have to see whether we will able to cluster these hospitals to the Kampala hospital or not. The hospitals very close by to one particular base hospital, we have uh, clustered them because it can be done with looking at the map. But hospitals which are far away from one particular base hospital, it may be difficult to cluster without a grassroots level knowledge. So it is quite important to identify which hospital that going to be the apex for the hospitals around that area. Now, actually, this clustering concepts not coming today or yesterday. It's coming from the 2019 with the universal health policy in Sri Lanka. So where it is supposed to have a clustering procedure to achieve the universal health coverage. From that onwards, there are many interventions and attempts has been taken to improve this cluster system in Sri Lanka. Uh, Few years back, actually the clusters were developed, but it's mostly from the Ministry of Health, but without taking much input from the grassroots level. What happens was that certain clustering was not quite efficient because the functionality at the grassroots level would be different from what is thinking at the national level. But in this time, so the Ministry of Health is, especially the Primary Healthcare Directorate, is trying to get maximum info from the grassroots level to develop this cluster system. So that is why this is important. The other problem that I want to highlight here now, if you get this again Candy as example, NHSL Candy is here, TH Peradeniya is here. There is one PMCU as well. Are we considering some other base hospital here as Apex, or are we connecting the hospitals directly to this line ministry hospitals or not? So that is actually the dialogue that has to be come up at the provincial directorate level, whether to we do it or not, and we have to discuss with the primary healthcare directorate. So there are certain other areas as well where there is no base hospital or district general hospital, so some hospital more than that, like national law teaching hospital, for a clustering purpose. Now, as example, in this area, there are several hospitals, but we cannot think of where we are linking to a base hospital or base hospital, because there is no base hospital around. But in that case, we may think of upgrading a division hospital to base hospital, as Primary Healthcare Directorate says. Now, then we have to identify which hospital would be the best OPEX going to be in future. In that case, that particular hospital has to be identified as Apex hospital. Then that has to be proposed to the Directorate of Primary Healthcare as well as planning it for the upgrade. Uh, so for synchronizing the process, then we can identify that district hospital as a Apex hospital. Now let's go back again to the Google Sheet here. That's a one. This one also we have shared with the provinces. Proposed clusters. Now let's go to the central province. So this under the central province, we have three Google Sheets. Let's again get the candy. Thinking about that, we have already, let's say select forward, already identify potential clusters. Now, as example, BHA Gampal. So it will be Apex Hospital. It will be Apex Hospital for these hospitals, as we see from the map. But everything we see from the map is not correct. There may be certain other hospitals which may able to link to the VHA Gampala, as well as there may be certain hospital here linking or the considering as a Apex hospital. VHA Gampala will be difficult in considering the road network and the distance to travel. So in that case, we may now let's say as we assume DHA Pusalla is not suitable place as having the apex of the VHA Gampala, then we have to remove that. Then we know that VHA Gampala wouldn't be the apex hospital for VHA Pusalla. At the same time, Let's select all. At the same time, there are certain other hospitals as 2BD. 2BD means to be decided. Actually, to be decided by the provincial authorities and the regional directorate of health authorities, because they know exactly which hospital would be the best apex hospital. Let's go to 2BD. 2BD. So these hospitals, then apex hospital we need to identify. As example, DHA Del Tota. So what could be the apex hospital for DHA Del Tota? So DHA Dolos Bag. So what could be the apex hospital for DHA Dolos Bag? Likewise, we need to identify what is the apex hospital is. So there may be certain hospitals, I said previously, also I'm again literate. So there may be certain base hospitals, uh, there may be certain division hospitals or PMCUs that there is no base hospital close by. Then it may be difficult to cluster these divisional hospitals or PMCUs for the base hospital. So in that case, we have to identify any of these hospitals as the apex hospital, and that has to be informed to the primary health care directorate. Then they will get necessary steps to upgrade of that particular divisional hospital to a apex hospital. So that is the plan. So finally we have to fill this as well. So at the end of filling, there can't be 2BD line here, so all should be filled up with relevant opex hospital. So that is the plan. So that's all from my end. Thank you so much.